Rick Smith, founder and CEO of Taser, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I really appreciate it. I'm just in awe of what you have done, and I'd love to learn more about the Taser story. For starters, how did you think up the idea of starting the company, or what prompted you to do it?
Well, it kind of hit me out of the blue. I had a couple friends that were shot and killed in a road rage incident while I was away at school in Europe on an exchange program. And looking back from overseas, it was just shocking that something like that would happen. And I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a little golf community, and people are getting gunned down. So I became very interested in self-defense. I read an article that year that there were 35,000 people shot and killed in America. And that led me to two conclusions. One, this is a huge problem. And number two, if somebody could help solve that problem, it could be an enormous business opportunity as well.
So I'm amazed by Taser that you had started with the idea of home defense, self-defense. That didn't work, and the idea that the police would use it, they rejected it. But here we are talking today, and virtually 100% of all police departments use Taser, swear by Taser. How in the world do you capture 100% of a big market like that?
Well, you make it, is the short answer. The way to capture a market is to be a first mover, and we moved into a space where there was not much intellectual property, so we were able to get 117 patents, greenfield in this space. So we got a pretty big IP wall, but move fast, get good IP, create a market that didn't exist, and really service the heck out of your customers. We have a fantastic relationship. Probably our customer support is our secret weapon that people don't necessarily comprehend in terms of the defensibility of our market space. But we've changed these officers' lives. I've had cops come up and hug me on a regular basis. A couple have at this show. They thank me because I prevented them from killing somebody or having to kill somebody, and that would have been life-altering for them as well. And it's pretty humbling for us, but it's a good way to keep perspective that these are our customers. They rely on us in life and death situations. We use that to keep every one of our employees focused on quality and customer service. That this is a life-changing, life-saving mission, and as such, that gets people really motivated to deliver their best, and our customers can sense that. And as a result, we've been pretty good at building this market and defending our market position.
Oh, I think I've heard you say that in the beginning, the way that the technology worked is it was painful but not necessarily incapacitating, and you had to kind of invent, well, you literally had to invent how to make something incapacitating but not painful. Is that right?
Well, it's still uncomfortable.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you it's not painful, but so the way that we actually found success was, we did go after the consumer market first, and we've built a decent consumer-sized business, but what we then identified was the problem in law enforcement was the weapon just didn't work that well. The technology of the time caused a painful shock, but if you had somebody like Rodney King, who was pretty motivated, big guy, the LAPD tried their tasers on Rodney King and it didn't work. And they went to their batons with obviously catastrophic results. So what we ended up doing is going back to the lab and really doing some sound engineering on the technology so that we could actually affect people's motor nerves, the way they move, lock those up. So the super high level view is if you make your product really do what a customer needs it to do, you will succeed. That was the big problem originally. The product didn't do what customers needed. And for a cop, the problem is I got a dangerous guy. He might be high on PCP. I got to put him on the ground. The old product failed. Once we fixed that one product, and interestingly, when we fixed it was in our darkest of days. We'd run out of cash. We'd wiped out our two investors. We were on the ropes. I thought the company was going under. So we had no marketing budget for launch. But when the product got right and did what we said it was going to do, the market just adopted it in a very viral word-of-mouth fashion, and we couldn't keep up with orders.
Speaking of those investors, I think I remember you telling me that your father was one of them.
Yes.
So your dad was a believer. I think he mortgaged the house.
Yeah, my dad mortgaged just about everything. He was a serial entrepreneur. He'd been in Silicon Valley when I was a teenager, and I saw him in a very successful startup. I've also seen him in some failed startups, and he took everything he had and put it into Taser. When nobody else believed in it, And again, there were some dark days where even I lost the faith, but we finally got the product right, and it worked out to be a good investment for him.
I would say so. Now, I see you have on your collar here the new product. This is an Axon camera.
Yeah, this is the Axon Flex. It's a wearable camera. And what we're doing here effectively is we're trying to get a level deeper into the law enforcement mission. So our core non-lethal weapons are about trying to make confrontations safer so that fewer people get injured. With the cameras, we're trying to make fewer confrontations. When people are being filmed,
right,
they behave better. They're less likely to assault an officer. The officers themselves are likely to behave better. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do now is sort of revolutionize the relationship between police and the public. Ever since Rodney King, there's been a real stress between police and the public. And you've got the media always there to fan the flames, right? Because it's a great story anytime something goes wrong. Well, 99 times out of 100, police officers do the right thing, but nobody knows for sure because there's two sides to the story and there's all this controversy about what really happened. If we can record it, we can replace all that fear, uncertainty, and doubt with certainty, a video of what happened, and agencies that are deploying this technology, we're seeing complaints fall to zero.
It looks like you're in the midst of another pivot for the company with a cloud strategy. What's the cloud strategy?
Yeah, one thing that was very interesting for us was we took a fresh look at the company and reimagined who we are. Rather than Taser being the company about this product, we said, you know what? What we've done is we've brought a new technology into law enforcement, which is an industry that does not early adopt technology. Yeah. So what else can we do? What other technologies can we adapt and create value? Well, as we started looking at the video business, which we got into because of controversy around how our weapons are used, we uncovered that law enforcement agencies really struggle with information technology. And you look at what's happened in the private sector, with Salesforce.com and the cloud, it just clearly,
all cloud. Yeah.
It is a technology wave that is unstoppable. It hasn't hit law enforcement yet. And we saw an opportunity with video. It's perfect. You need the highly scalable resources to be able to store hundreds of terabytes of data. There's all sorts of specialized technical requirements because we're handling digital evidence. So it's a big technical lift. And for your average police department that has 50 officers, they don't have anywhere near the technical resources to do this. So by pairing the camera with a cloud-based back end, so we can now come to these agencies and say, look, you can focus on running a great police department. We're going to deliver to you the entire technology stack. So you're buying a capability, not a bunch of technical pieces you got to figure out. It's a bit of the Apple play of making the whole widget. In this case, our customers are even more hamstrung than a consumer. So while consumers were concerned, how do I get my music onto my MP3 player? For a police department, it's how do I take 50 officers that are generating 2 gigabytes of data every day, and how do I effectively and efficiently manage that when I might have one IT person? And in many cases, they don't even work at the police department. They work over at the city. So I've got no technical support to go and try to take on this huge technical challenge. So we actually think law enforcement is the ultimate perfect market for a cloud strategy because of all the limitations I just talked about. And we see video as just the first major piece. We see an opportunity to build a platform that enables us to bring all sorts of new technology into law enforcement. And because they don't have to worry about buying and installing a lot of infrastructure, we can rapidly accelerate their ability to be deploying, newer devices rather than having laptops that are 5 years old. We'll get them onto smartphones and iPads and cameras and tying it all into a back end that gives them flexibility.
I think it's a remarkable example, for two reasons. One is that you took a technology and a concept from completely unrelated industries, namely cloud, and figured out how it would benefit law enforcement. The second thing is that the company could have been pigeonholed as your Taser, and that's it. You got this thing, it's great, it works, and that could be it. And instead, looking at your customer at the police department and looking at them more globally, that's a remarkable pivot. Most companies can't figure that out.
It's been hard, I'll tell you. It's been really hard.
I know you've had generations of development evidence.com. So it was not like you thought up the idea and, oh, instantly you had this perfect cloud.
No,
out
I mean,
there.
we got a lot of things wrong. Our first camera, we tried to do too much. It was too big and too expensive. We built out our own data center initially before realizing, we shouldn't be in the data center business.
Right.
Yeah, we should really, eat the dog food on cloud.
Yeah.
So we've, since moved to, we partner with Amazon on the back end. So we've got a massive partner, infinitely scalable.
Right.
We don't have to worry about those scaling issues. It's been an interesting reinvention, but the point is the hardest thing to get out there isn't technology, it's the customer. And once you've got a customer in a customer base where you've got a strong brand and strong relationship, if you can figure out how to help them solve more problems, again, for us the thing was realizing this insight, wait, we don't just make electric guns, we know how to take technology and map it with training and customer support into this industry that just isn't built to adapt new technology. What else can we do? What other problems can we solve? And particularly with video, it's right adjacent to what we do. Hey, when you use our core products, wouldn't it be great if we could also solve all the controversy around that? So we'll see what the next year or two holds. But I think after several years of investment and a lot of reinvention in the company, we're really getting a lot of traction now. And evidence.com should be a household name in another year.
You're just an incredible success story as an entrepreneur. You started this as a private company. You had an IPO, very successful public company. What kind of advice do you have for entrepreneurs, for someone who's starting out right now today? They got a great idea and that's it. What's the advice from Rick Smith?
The main advice is just do it. I mean, tons and tons
you see
of people
who hesitate?
Yeah, people say, I've got this idea, but I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, my initial business plan looks nothing like what happened today. So the most important thing is taking the first step. That you just make a commitment, whatever it is, whether it's working nights and weekends, whether it's taking one day, per week off, or quitting your job. In my case, the pivotal moment was coming out of business school. I decided not to interview for a job because I did not want to face the prospect of an actual job offer, because then I'd have to.
That would be too horrible.
It'd be harder to be like, well, I've got a job offer that's looks good, or I can go do this crazy thing about tasers and electric weapons. And so my disciplined approach was, I'm just not going to interview for the job. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to go spend 3 months, and I'm going to go pursue this. I'm just going to see what happens. And one thing led to another, and next thing I know, I met the inventor of the Taser from back in the 1960s, and just basically taking action, calling around, doing everything. One morning, you get up in the morning, say, what can I do to move one step further down the road today? And and then from there, you just kind of figure stuff out, and the plan will change, and you'll learn things, and your assumptions are going to be wrong. So don't wait for the perfect business plan, because there is no such thing.
Right, never exists.
Do your basic research, get enough comfort that there's something there, and then go for it.
That's great. Rick, thank you so much.
Thanks, appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.